How to calculate the number of operators using Takt Time. Now that's the title. That's what you all are typing in on YouTube that showed up on a program that we call SEMrush that shows what I should respond to. But this title could also be how to calculate the number of workers using Takt Time. Whatever it is, whether it's foremen and workers, operators using equipment, whatever the case may be, how do you actually do that analysis? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Stay with us. I just want to say a couple of things. If you're simply dividing the available time by the tasks that you have, you're missing an opportunity. If you're focused on Takt Time just to focus on speed, you're really probably exiting the world of flow. And if you're just blanket throwing 5 guys at a 5-day activity or gals or whatever, and just rough numbering, even if you got 2 thumbs, you know, like just wild guessing it, you're missing an opportunity to really do an awesome analysis. And so what I'm going to take you through is how to actually use Takt Time to calculate this and give you some things that will be really cool, some tools that I believe you will enjoy. So if you're into that, stay with me. Here's the deal. In construction, as I've already talked to you about, and I can link the videos about Takt Time in the description below, I've shown you how to calculate your Takt Time. Now let's say you have a phase of work where every crew really needs to or gets to fit inside of 5-day Takt Time. Now you either have a large crew, which might need multiple wagons in separate Takt Times, or you might have one that fits generally right, or you might have one that doesn't fit where there's a little bit of interruption from zone to zone to zone to zone. But the bottom line here is you have the opportunity to calculate that. So everything's basically a proportional relationship. In construction, if you have a tacked wagon, that means you have your Takt Time. Let's just say hypothetically it's 3 days. And you have your zone size, which let's say for a 3-day Takt Time that it's, let's say it's a 4,500 square foot zone. You need to calculate how many workers or operators or workers and foremen need to go into that space or get to go into that space. Well, you know roughly how much one individual can produce or how much individuals as a part of a crew can produce. And so you know how much you need to produce in that zone, which is fantastic, and you know how much time that you have to do it. So you can calculate it, and if you're like, with 2 individuals, I really can't get this done in 3 days, it will take 5, well, maybe you need 4 individuals or 6. And then you calculate it and you're like, yeah, that ends up being 2 days and 6 hours. That's pretty much the ideal, just so you know. Like if you have a 3-day Takt Time, you want to work that first day, work that second day, and then have a little bit of a buffer at the end of the third. So your Takt Time is not the same as your cycle time. Your cycle time is how long it will take your crew to accomplish that work for one work package in one zone. And it shouldn't be a 1-for-1. It shouldn't be Takt Time is 3 days, cycle time is 3 days. That will leave you with no buffer. The problem is that there's variation that the crew experiences and productivity loss based on variation, right? And so you need a little bit of a buffer. And you're like, Jay Money, what if we don't have impacts? What if we're doing great? Well, we cannot be afraid of buffers. We have got to make sure that we have time to demobilize, to clean, to sweep, to move our gang boxes, our pipe racks, to do some training, to do the inspection, to do the punch list, to prepare the next area, pre-stage materials. This is important. And I'll tell you what, I bet some of you won't believe me, but I think you should. Obviously, if you're here, I think you should take my word for it. It would be better to have hours of extra time and not rush and push and panic. And literally, you could give the workers a break if you wanted and pay them to be there and stay stable than if you tried to rush and push and panic and move, and then you get rework and then you enter into a downward productivity spiral. So what I want you to do is if you have your Takt Time, let's say it's 3 days, and you know the portion of work, calculate it where you have enough labor and the right crew composition to get the work done and have a little bit of a buffer, and that your cycle time fits in there nicely to where it won't expand and run past, but you're not sandbagging, right? You're not having a lot of time left over. And then also remember the prep time before you actually hit the zone that you need for the crew to be successful. Let me tell you just a quick little story here. And I learned this at Petticoat Schmidt. And crew composition, it's not an exact formula. You have to look at crew composition. I remember looking at production rates, and by the way, Petticoat Schmidt is fantastic. They're a civil contractor in Florida. I think they got so popular and people were touring their jobs so much that they finally had to stop. They're a little bit like Paul Akers in that respect. But I remember on their install, or their pipe crews, they would need a foreman, an equipment operator, 2 pipe layers, and then 1 or 2 laborers. If the equipment operator didn't come and the foreman had to run the equipment, that would mean that their productivity would like literally go down to half. Or if they didn't have the equipment operator, or they only had 1 pipe layer, it would really affect the crew. So it's not just how many people you need, but the right positions with the right crew composition in rhythm with the equipment and the tools that you have inside that crew working in those zones. So you need to basically design that as a formula inside the takt time, ideally with a little bit of a buffer. And I do want to make a point here, is that keeping people and equipment busy is not the focus. Like, I know you're all wanting to like tar and feather me right now, but the focus is flow. You want the work to flow. So here's another example from the civil world that I will give you. If you want everybody to be busy, let's say the pipe crew is going along, excavating, and then you come up to a pipe. Don't hit it, right? But you're like, oh, I didn't know that that was there. That's in the way of our force main. That equipment operator could actually come help shoot inverts, maintain the equipment, refuel it with diesel, and basically stay there and help the crew fix the problem. Or that equipment operator can dog off and go, hey, I'm gonna go move that dirt, and I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna go do that. Burning diesel, wear and tear on the equipment, off somewhere else, doing rework, finishing things that will now likely get damaged. Now there's dirt in the way. Now it takes 30 minutes to move the traco back to where it needs to be. Waste. That's keeping things busy. But if in those situations you analyze, it would be better for that equipment operator to shut the equipment down, maintain it, fuel it up, help the crew actually work through the problem, keep the work flowing and not the people. That is a better focus. And so what I'm going to say is that a lot of people in construction are like, workers being busy, equipment being busy, don't ever have that equipment being shut off. That is not the measure of success. The measure of success is that the work is flowing. And I understand that you're charging the job site for the equipment based on how much it's being used. So you're like, keep it busy, keep it busy. No. Keep the work flowing. And so here's what I want you to do. If you have a little bit of buffer capacity, maybe 1 extra person, or maybe you have a couple of scenarios where people are not at full capacity, not full utilization, that's fine as long as work is flowing. And so that has to be a part of this consideration. So it's really about balancing the workload and creating flow, not counting bodies and not counting busyness, because busyness most of the time is waste. So in conclusion, really what you need to do is understand your takt time, make sure that that takt time allows you your activity time and the buffer time that you need. Make sure you have the right equipment, tools, and the environment, materials, and labor, workers or operators or foremen, to get this done right and to focus on the flow of the work. That's really how you do this. And I'll turn this into a blog post in case it helps. And this is one of those situations where I really want you to reach out to me if you have questions, because I will literally personally help you figure this out. Last thing that I'll say is I'm going to include in the description below a neat little tool that Kevin Rice made, which is called Build Your Lego. And it's a form where you can look at your production plan and then identify the ideal crew counts and then the ideal resources based on the production rhythm you have. So I hope you enjoy that. You can also find that in the book, Takt, Steering, and Control. I was going to say think, but I know you'll love it. So please check it out. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.